You
Are
know,
you guys finding it a little tougher now with
oh
the
yeah,
way the economy is? Like,
yeah.
is the backing not quite the level it was? Are you guys
Eh,
seeing that?
yeah, I have been. It's a combination of a lot of things. I think it's the combination of some campaigns being extremely late, some campaigns that did fulfill, but either people didn't get a chance to read it, as we discussed about the stacks of books that we haven't had a chance to read,
Yeah.
or it could. I think it's also the factor of maybe they received some books and they read it and went, "Ooh, it's not very good. Maybe I
Yeah.
should back the next one."
There's definitely a little bit of that going on. I think, yeah,
And it's fair. It's all fair. You put your stuff out there. That's the risk you take. You gotta. The thing is, I think
it's theirs
the
now.
problem. I think the major problem that I've observed is that readers, for some reason, are afraid to let people know, or the creators know, how they really feel about books. And I'm here to tell you guys, if you're a reader, if you're a backer of a campaign, read it. And if it's not good, let us know. How else are we gonna know? How else are we gonna know to get better? If you don't let us know, hey, the story was missing, a couple of beats here, or I didn't really feel the character connect. I couldn't connect with the character, or the plot didn't really hit for me, or whatever the case may be. Because if we don't hear anything, how will we know, right? How will we know to get better? How will we know
and a
grow?
good constructive criticism is huge, I think,
Absolutely.
and usually, like, you can also, like, if you get enough people like criticizing the book, and usually you'll start to see certain things emerge,
Yes.
like where they talk about this, each person talks about the same part of the story that doesn't work for them. And that's when like, oh, okay, so I got to work on this, because it's
right.
Or you can replace the word criticism with feedback, as a better,
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Sounds more positive.
A big shout out to our friends at Global Comics, because if you have your book uploaded over there and it's available to read, you can look at a statistical graph to see at what page people decide to drop off.
Right.
That's an amazing tool that
is.
you could, as a creator, so that way, if you're even not getting the honest feedback from people, because it's almost like in the cultural zeitgeist to not crush the creator's dream.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they'll lie to you, not because they, it's because they care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to that effect, you can actually literally see where people go, okay, I'm out of this story.
Oh, that is a very helpful tool, and I think that's another factor that a lot of writers and creators don't develop. I mean, yeah, it's one thing developing your style, it's one thing developing your skills as a writer. The other thing you have to develop is the thick skin that comes with the territory.
Yeah, it does. Like, and it's hard because, like, the first time I was criticized about one of my projects, it took a while. To
it hurts.
It does. It does
burns.
hurt.
It really does burn.
Because we carry self-doubt on our shoulder by default for having
it's kind of a good thing, though, because, like, in this world or in sports or whatever, I mean, you don't know, you can't learn unless you fail. Failing is, or not failing, but maybe some harsh feedback, is a good motivator. You know what I mean? To, like,
how you get better. Like,
right.
In a nutshell. Like,
yeah, unless the person is just, being a dick,
jerk.
but like,
right.
We don't want
like,
that's the problem, though. It's hard to tell, like, what, where that is. Like, if it's somebody that has a chip on their shoulder against you, or if they're being legit, so that was always tough,
Yeah, and it's hard. And I think you made a good point, Keith. It's like, if you get multiple people saying there's something that trips them up in the story, that's like your common factor that you can really trust. Because sometimes when people will talk about a certain story, or even if it's not yours, it might just be a movie you like or a book you read, and your favorite part of that book could be the part that they hate the most. And so that makes it really difficult too, because if someone comes to you and says, I didn't really like this scene in this book, I didn't really understand it. And I've had that where someone would say, I didn't really get that part, or that wasn't my favorite part. Like, for Man-Child example, some people really love the superhero stuff, but they don't really care for the Rufus stuff, the slice of life stuff. And then I've had other people that say, I don't really care about the superhero stuff. I like following Rufus and seeing him with his friends. And so that's been kind of an interesting fan base of feedback, because I'm like, well, I hope I can bring you all together at some point, but it's interesting to see certain fans how the two separate stories resonate with people differently.
Yeah, and so I just imagine in a case like that, that's kind of a unique one because it's like, what do you do? Like, you know,
That's awesome,
at that point you trust in yourself that your story you're telling is gonna bring them together.
Yeah, I got
Yeah,
to
but I have another.
bring it together.
It's a build-up. You have a build-up happening, and that's really awesome creatively.
I have another bit of advice. Whenever you're receiving negative feedback, make sure you're outside in the rain. That way, if you start crying, no one will know that you're.
Hide the tears. My personal approach is I kind of use the analogy of the scale. How much, how many, like, you mentioned Nandor, some people like superhero stuff, some people don't, some people like the slice of life stuff. So you got to just scale it and weigh it to see, okay, well, I'm getting more of this or I'm getting less than that, whatever. And then based on that, that's where you could kind of shift and move around and see what works best for your readers. Because that's the one thing that we have to also recognize is keeping our readers happy and engaged and wanting to come back to read more of our stuff.
Although I think in like the story you're telling, Nandor, like I feel like there'll be a payoff when those two things come together.
Yeah.
So, I have to tell them, like just hang on. I hate telling people that because it takes so long for an issue to come out, and I feel like it's a big ask. But I know where it's headed, and I know that I'm really satisfied as a reader, and I've, and as the creator, it's like I've read enough comics. I feel like I can look at it and I can go, that would be satisfying to me if I just trusted the creator to follow through with their plans. And so it's a difficult toss up because and then when there are some people that are like, oh, the superhero stuff resonates with me more and the slice of life stuff doesn't, it makes me want to make the slice of life stuff better so that it will resonate with them, and that it'll that will become their favorite part of the book. Actually, it's like, that's what I'm hoping, but it just depends.
I guess that's where the feedback would help a little.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like where it's like, how can I beef this side of the story up a little bit to win those people over, even if you don't change much, but maybe you add a little more characterization or something,